So let's talk a little bit about the place of fear in our relationship to being connected to the divine. Fear is one of those things that we all live with, and we have a part of our brain, which is our primitive part, what we call the reptilian brain, which really drives that fear. And if you stop to think about the fact that eons ago, we were living in caves as humans, and we were having to fight lions and tigers and bears. We had a fight or flight part of us that was extremely important for our survival. So it's no surprise that that part of our brain is still there. What's happened over the eons is we have evolved, and we've developed the other parts of our brain so that they do more of the work than the typical primitive brain that we've had. So there's a little science lesson for you, but it's to try to help you understand why we have fear. Why do we have to live with fear? Now, we want to have a reaction to fear if we see a rattlesnake in front of us or we see a bear in the woods. That's that fight or flight kind of response we want to have, but not in our everyday life. Not having fear about what the next moment will bring, or fear about bringing forward the baggage from the past. Those fears we want to be able to work with. We want to be able to dispel them, or we cannot live a fully individualized life. And I use that word individualized because each one of us is an individualized expression of the divine, which means we have all of the capacities and capabilities that the divine has, but the divine is an infinite mind, and we have a finite mind. So that's where the fear comes in. That's where those things come in that are creating dissonance in our life. So I'm going to suggest that we learn how to treat fear. There's a couple things you can do. There's a great online product called Fear to Faith that you can download, and you can walk through the steps of moving from fear to faith. And it takes an example from your past and allows you to work with it. But the other thing we can do is treat it just like we treat forgiveness. Because the first thing we have to do is we have to recognize the fear. We have to acknowledge the fear. Not push it down, not ignore it, but look at it and say, oh, there it is. And then we have to learn how to accept it. To accept that that is something that is up for us. Again, these are very much the steps of forgiveness. Once we've done those first two steps in fear, then we have to let it go. We've got to find some way to let go of that fear so that it'll minimize it, and it won't be coming up at all, maybe, but it won't come up so often, or when it does come up, we immediately recognize it, and we can acknowledge it, accept it, and release it. So I say to you that if you want to have a fully fulfilled life in spirit, all of us must learn how to control our fears, because fears are getting in the way of the creative mind, of that law of mind that says what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. So I encourage you, if you have an issue with fear, to start practicing these steps. Learn how to acknowledge it, how to accept it, and then how to let it go. And again, not ignoring it, but doing whatever it takes to let it go. Maybe it's going into prayer. Maybe it's going into meditation. But when it comes up, deal with it. Because if we don't, then it continues in our lives, and sometimes it compounds, And one of the stories in Essential Ernest Holmes is perfect for this discussion. A man was feeling joyful, having a great morning, and he got onto the train and he sat down next to a man who was miserable. He was complaining, he was unhappy, his life was falling apart, and by the time the man got off the bus or the train, he was miserable. Because fear and that kind of feeling is as contagious as the common cold. So that's the other thing. Understand that you also have to kind of put a bubble around yourself to protect yourself from those who haven't had the benefit of this teaching, who haven't heard about the idea of doing this work. And I know that if you do this, you are going to feel so much more at peace, so much more connected to the divine. I know that for you now. Let that fear go now. Let's pray. Right here in this space, I feel the presence of the divine, that source, that wholeness, that creative process that works through me and works through each person in the sound of my voice, giving each the opportunity to release the fear that may be in their lives around whatever it might be, acknowledging it, accepting it, and then releasing it. I affirm for each person that the divine is right in the middle, ready to give all the support and guidance necessary. I am so thankful for the truth that God is right there all the time, no matter what appearances are. So knowing this, I can release it into that law that responds yes to what each one of us believes. So I can let this go and let it be. And so it is.